Alright guys, video number 2, I'm going to show you how to use some of those coffee filters to create some flowers. This is a great project with May Day coming up. If you want to leave your neighbors a little gift, you can add some tissue paper flowers to it using your tie-dyed coffee filters. For this project, you need to have at least 2 coffee filters. If you want to add more, you can, but for each of our tissue paper flowers, you need to add 2 coffee filters at least. It won't work with just 1. So we're going to stack up our coffee filters, at least 2 in a pile. I'm using 3 for the flower I'm making right now. The only other thing that you're going to need for this is either tape or a stapler. And then if you have something at home you can use for a stem, you might have to get creative for that. I have a little bit of green wire that I'm going to use for a stem. If you have a pipe cleaner will work. You could even get super creative with something like a straw or a pencil or something like that. So you may have to use your imagination a little bit if you want to create stems for your flowers. But this is how we're going to create the actual flowering top for our flowers. So I'm going to flip you around. All right, so here I have my stack of 3 coffee filters. I have a blue, a purple, and a pink. You can use all 3 the same colors. You can honestly just use it with white too if you want to have white flowers. But we want to keep that stack in a nice, neat pile. Now this is also a little bit trickier for little fingers, so it may take some grown-up help. What we're going to do is zigzag or accordion fold the entire stack of coffee filters. So this time, instead of folding in half, we're going to fold from the top all the way down, and we're going to fold back and forth. We're going to fold about an inch or a little bit less, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and then we're going to fold the other way about the same amount, and we're going to keep folding back and forth and back and forth, keeping the whole stack nice and even, keeping our folds about the same. They're not perfect, it will still work. Back and forth all the way to the end. So now we have our whole coffee filter accordion folded. It's going to look kind of like a little bow tie right here in the center. Then we're going to find the middle of that flower and we're going to fold everything in half. So it's going to kind of look like a little heart shape as you fold it. Now this center part right here, this is the part that we actually need to hook together. So I'm going to use a stapler for that. I don't know if my stapler will work. We'll try it out. It's quite thick with 3 pieces of paper, so that might take a little bit of grown-up help to put a little staple at the bottom there. You can also just wrap a piece of Scotch tape around that too to hold it together. So if you don't have a stapler, you can just tape the bottom together too, and that will work just fine. Now that we have all the pieces folded and stapled together at the bottom, our next step is to separate all the layers. Now remember I said that I was using 3. I have a red, a blue, and a purple. All I'm going to do now is separate each one of those layers. So I'm going to really carefully pull the red layer and the purple layer and the blue layer apart. And over here, the red layer, the purple layer, and the blue layer, I'm going to separate those and pull those apart. And as I fluff them out, it's going to create a flower. And you can kind of push and pull the petals a little bit to make them how you want them to look, folding them, putting whatever color you want kind of in the center. If you want to practice kind of cutting the tips a little bit to change the shape of the petal, you can, but that's pretty easy peasy, super simple solution. Now, if you want to put a stem on your flower, I have my stem right here. What I'm going to do is actually wrap the stem around the center, kind of where my staple is, and just give it a little twist at the bottom. If you're using a pipe cleaner, this is exactly what you'll do to create the stem of your flower. If you're using a straw or you're using a pencil, you may have to experiment with different ways that you can get your stem to stick. But there's my flower on a wire, tissue paper flower with coffee filters. Pretty simple and easy to do.